Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Happy Empowerment Hour with X Level Inc. I am so excited to bring to you a fabulous friend, but a woman on a mission, a Latina that I am so proud de San Salvador, that is truly making the world a better place with her wonderful organization and her passion, Glasswing International. So I would love to introduce you to Celina de Sola, who, Celina, you are somebody I respect and admire, and just welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm honored that you invited me. So thank you.
Well, I will tell you, Celina, you and I met in New York. It's almost been, a year already, year and a half, it feels like. And I was so impressed with your gala, with all that you all did. But most importantly, the people that came to speak about the difference that you all are making in Latin America, especially in San Salvador. And I would love to introduce our audience to, as a founder, where did this idea begin? How did it start? And how have you evolved it since then?
I think I'm one of the founders, right? And I think, like many social entrepreneurs, I think you see opportunities to get involved and opportunities to kind of take advantage or leverage maybe some of your training or ideas or experiences in different contexts. And being from El Salvador, we saw an opportunity to really bring people together to make a change. So our work is actually all community based, but it also brings together people from the private sector, from government, civil society, and we try to make sure that we're addressing the root causes of some of the biggest problems here. And one of those is violence, right? Violence and trauma. So we got started just because we saw a challenge and we wanted to see how we could address that and bring people together to address it.
No, definitely. And you're right. I know that you all speak a lot about violence and trauma. Tell us a little bit about how your organization addresses that and helps the individuals that are involved.
Yeah, well, you know what? One thing that I always say that a lot of people don't know is even though Latin America has 8% of the population, it also has 37% of the world's homicides globally. So it's a huge challenge we're facing. And someone who is engaged in violent behavior, it's probably because they've been victims before. So I
Right.
think when we think about violence for us, that's why we focus so much on trauma. We feel like a lot of work around development and around just working with kids in Latin America has to do with that healing. It has to do with addressing trauma, giving kids the life skills they need so they can navigate the adversity that they may be facing, but also so they can have the skills to thrive because every kid deserves to have the same opportunities to succeed. So we put that kind of trauma context in, but really we're focused on just giving every kid a fair chance to be the best version of themselves.
Well, and that's wonderful because I think it's in breaking those cycles that evolution of a person can begin, so that way they can realize that that's because unfortunately sometimes violence has been normalized, right? And so it's how do you break that cycle? So in that, tell me a little bit about some of the projects that you all have done that have really helped the children in this evolution.
Sure. So one of the projects that's perhaps one of the biggest projects we have that we do, we work in 10 different countries, including the US. We work in New York City, but mostly in Latin America. And one of the main initiatives we have is called community schools. And what we do is we try to convert public schools into centers of community. We take advantage of the fact that everybody knows where the school is, the parents, the siblings, and we make it into a place, it's already great infrastructure, but we just add more to what teachers are already doing. And we work with teachers. So we have after school programming, restorative practices, community cafes that bring together parents, mindfulness. So all these, the after school programs include glee, debate, art. So you kind of breathe this new life into a school where kids can feel much more attached to their school, proud of their school. They make really strong friendships. And we just build on the existing strengths that these communities already have. There's so much to build from. And I think the stigma around communities with high rates of poverty prevents so much work from being done there. But really, that's where there's so much human potential, so much human potential.
No, definitely. Because I think that when you're making that lasting change within those communities, you're really transforming the rest of the world by being involved in that. So tell our audience a little bit, because I know you're in 10 countries. You're also in New York. That's quite a bit of growth for a newer organization, if you will. Tell us how that happened.
Well, we're so grateful. We have an amazing team of people now. So they're in the 9 countries in Latin America, all the way from Mexico down to Colombia and the Dominican Republic and Trinidad and Tobago. So except Belize, we don't have a program in Belize yet. But, we were able to grow because of our team and our partnerships. Fortunately, some of our corporate partners wanted to work with us regionally. Some other funders that we partner with other foundations and governments. So fortunately, because we were able to show that we have an impact and evaluate that, right? It's just like anything else, like a product you sell, you want it to be evaluated and know that it's going to deliver what you expect. So we've been really lucky to have that opportunity, and we have a team of over 200 people who work in all these countries, and 99% of our team is from the different countries we work in from Latin America. So, the team makes it.
The team makes it. And tell us about New York, because, and I love that whole U.S. Latin American connection that you're doing there. So tell us a little bit about that.
So many of the challenges we face, migration, which is so front and center right now, so many conversations, and really it's a transnational issue. So for us, we didn't used to have operations. We've always been a registered nonprofit in the U.S., but when we saw the opportunity to take what we learned from our students, from the young people community, and we take what we learned from them and apply it to working in New York City. And in New York City, we work with high schools, public high schools that serve migrant youth. So they're populated 100% migrants from all over the world. They're high school students. Most all are English language learners. And again, this pool of incredible human potential. It's so diverse. It's so rich in cultures and energy. So we've been able to draw from our learning, learn more from these young men and women. And now we have programs in 3 public schools in New York, but we started with 2. And we keep kind of deepening our work in the schools. We've been working with teachers on their own self-care and trauma-informed approaches. So we're really excited. It's really, and volunteers also.
Well, and I will tell you, with COVID going on, I've seen your posts. There's a lot of things that have happened. Tell us a little bit about how your organization had to pivot because of COVID and everything that we're facing as a world right now.
Definitely. It's been so much, right? Because we've been pivoting to address humanitarian crises, but at the same time pivoting to take our ongoing education, mental health programming to the digital platform. Right. So we've been both in Latin America and in New York City. We've been providing humanitarian aid in the form of, in Latin America, mostly food, supplies, educational, mental health kits. And in New York, we've been able to support students with technology, with tablets, with access to technology, and also for families, we've been able to provide them with cash transfers, cash grants, so they can cover some of the more urgent, immediate expenses they have. So, we're really responding to what the families are expressing to us as their priorities, and doing our best to try to meet as many of those as we can.
And one thing I want to commend you on, especially when I was going over what we're going to talk about today, is you all really address mental health and talk about it. And I know in Latin America, or be myself a Mexicana as well, that's something that our communities do not talk, in my opinion, enough about, regardless of socioeconomic status. How has that been either embraced, or has that been a learning curve with the people that you serve to be able to do that? And what type of evolution have you seen within those practices, or those programs, I should say?
I mean, that's such a great question, and it's such it's an important question. And interestingly, we've been working with mental health since the beginning. For us, it's one of the main opportunities we see for improving the conditions in our countries. It's definitely stigmatized, but I have to say that COVID has brought to the fore the importance of mental health, the importance of understanding how we can, one is accept that these are feelings that we're all having, learn to manage those emotions, understand the physical, the feelings, the physiological, right, the feelings we have when we have anxiety and stress, and then how to apply different kinds of tools, whether that's mindfulness, breathing. So, I think mental health now is becoming almost more mainstream because we're all doing that. And I think that's going to help remove some of the stigma. It's not a clinical, it's not always a clinical, something that requires a clinical intervention. Communities for thousands of years have been amazing at driving healing. We're trying to drive on that. How can communities help healing amongst, neighbors, family members? How do we maintain that sense of human connection at a time when we're not physically supposed to be in the same space? So ironically, COVID's brought it to the fore and gives us an opportunity to elevate the importance of mental health care.
That is wonderful. And let me just say thank you for doing that, because I do know that with COVID going on, you hear the statistics of domestic violence being up, child abuse being up, but it's when we bring those lessons to the forefront and remind everybody what it's simple, just take a breath. Sometimes people aren't there for meditation yet, but just to be able to take that moment for ourselves, how important that is. And I know you and I had a conversation about that at the beginning of COVID, going, oh my goodness, how are we all handling these things? But I'm so grateful to you because I see the difference through your posts of what you and your organization are doing that will truly help, because we're all connected at the end of the day. But by making a lasting change in reducing the violence in Latin America, will make lasting change in the entire world, because there's so much richness in Latin America too that people don't get to see because of the violence that's there as well. So tell us how someone can get involved with your organization.
Thank you so much. There's so many ways to get involved. I think one is just to elevate, right? Elevate the challenges, but not just the challenges, the opportunities. And maybe figure out how we change this narrative about people, particularly migrants, not being liabilities, but assets. This is important to change the conversations and understand the human potential that there is, like we said, in this region. And I think the other is volunteering. People reach out to us. A lot of people have reached out to us. There are different ways to volunteer, create videos. If you have the time to commit to weekly, gatherings or tutoring, or there are different opportunities to volunteer, whether it's with us or with another organization in your community. And obviously, any sort of in-kind or monetary contributions are hugely impactful, because that's how we're able to implement our work as well, with volunteers and also with funding. So this is a great time to get involved.
Definitely. And tell me, you are so passionate about this. What started that passion? I'm just curious.
I love it. For me, it's my job. Like anybody, you love your job. I love my job. I feel I love to try to identify how I can pull different ideas together. And a lot of my colleagues are the same way. We like to problem solve. I think I'm also in a position where I grew up in Latin America I didn't need anything. I didn't need for anything. So for me as a child, it was very evident that it wasn't fair, that I had access to so many things that so many people didn't. So even as a young child, I always thought about what I could do in my life to try to equalize the playing field, because so I think it's been this inquietud, like you say in Spanish, this kind of a fire in my belly since I was a kid. And then now I've just been learning so much as I've been working in the US and in Africa and Middle East, all different parts of the world. I keep learning now back in El Salvador, where I am right now, just how each of us in our situations can, and what the leverage points are to really make things happen. So for me, it's just I feel a sense of responsibility and duty. I also feel like it's I learned so much. I meet incredible people that I admire every single day. So it's a mixture, right, of what I love to do, but also just something that's constantly, we need to do more, in this desire to do more and more and more and more, and not, just not be satisfied. And of course, my colleagues who I love working with.
So I thought there was a beautiful omen that I saw that you posted today. And it was so beautiful that you named the organization Glasswing. And on the day of our interview, I saw that you posted a picture that you actually saw when it actually gives me chills right now just thinking about that. How did that feel?
No, it's so everybody who has been all these years, when I pick the name, I love animals and wildlife, and I pick the name Glasswing because, because butterflies represent transformation, metamorphosis. The cocoon is such an incredible everything about the butterfly. And then when we found a butterfly that exists throughout Mexico, Central America, where I'm like, that's perfect. And so all these years, for 13 years, I've been getting pictures from people from all over the place that send me, look, I saw Glasswing. I had never seen one. So, seeing it was really fun. That's why I posted it, because I'm like, this is actually the first live, right, in real life Glasswing butterfly I'd ever seen. So I do. I think it's a message. I think it's a message from, this like omen from the universe, from the planet. For me, just inspiration to work harder and, really, really push to do more and more and more.
Well, I will tell you this, for me, it was a sign from the universe telling you're on the right path. That it was just saying, here it is. And I have to tell you, I didn't even know a glasswing butterfly really until I saw your picture. I go, oh my goodness. So I went in and go search. I go, I didn't even know this beautiful butterflies. I've always heard of monarchs, but how we're all learning something. And it's so interesting how we all think of what an idea is about. And then when you saw, I said, oh my gosh, how beautiful.
Yeah. And it can carry 40 times its weight. Look, it's fragile. It's got clear wings. And we all think of butterflies as something so delicate. It can carry 40 times its weight. So it's a powerhouse little creature.
Well, I will tell you this. Let that be our powerhouse to remind all of us that we can all carry more than we think we can if we just allow ourselves to do so. And I would love, if you don't mind telling everybody, just a quick success story. I know I'm putting you on the spot, something that's new, but to talk about a success story so that way everybody understands the difference that Glasswing can make.
Yeah, for us, we evaluate everything we do. And I think and we evaluate through studies, and we work with the World Bank and the Chicago Crime Lab, and we've worked with all kinds of research institutions who can evaluate us independently. But for me, very recent story is one of the students at one of our, I think she's been a student for more than 8 or 9 years. She graduated from the high school. She was in our after school clubs in English and debate. And now actually 2 young women who have been in our after school clubs, discovery clubs, since they were little, 2 of them are now running for office. So I know. So for me, I'm like, that is so cool, right? The fact that these 2 girls really, just saw in themselves what we see in them, because we hold up a mirror. We're like, look at the potential we see in you. Look who you are, your power, and the fact that they've taken and owned that and are running for city government is, for me, that's a huge testament to that human potential that we're talking about. And to see it in 2 young women, it's pretty awesome too.
That is amazing. Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I'm so excited to have gotten that, the story. And I'm just curious, where are they running for office?
Here in El Salvador.
Really?
Yes. I mean, someday we hope to have, we do in the States, we've been working in the States for 2 years only. I'm actually curious now if in the other countries the same thing has happened. But since I just got back to El Salvador, I heard about this like a week or 2 ago, and I was so excited, and they're running for different political parties. So
that's
right,
better, because it goes to show you're not owning a mind, you're letting a mind evolve to whatever it needs to be and to have its own opinion, which is a beautiful thing. And true empowerment is doing that versus making them believe just a different way. So good for you. Well,
good for them.
Good for them. But I would say, what an amazing legacy to have. What an amazing legacy to have. So if there was a piece of advice that you could give to someone that's watching us right now, because everyone's going through different things. I say stress is the same no matter where you are. It just is. What would be a piece of advice that you would give to someone, especially since I know mental health is so important for your organization?
I think right now in difficult times, I think it's really important there's a woman, her name's Carol Dweck, and she talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And I think I would draw from some of her research and say that right now is a challenging time, but let's put on kind of an attitude of growth mindset and figure out how in this context we can adapt to communicating differently, trying to stay positive, because what we receive from our environment, it is what it is. But what we do with it is our decision. So I think just kind of taking that attitude and saying, okay, what am I going to do with the diversity I'm being given in this context, and kind of flip that switch and take that sense of agency on and say, I'm going to make with this circumstance or situation, I'm going to try to, guide, position it in a different direction where I can make it something come out of it that'll make me or someone else stronger.
Right. I will say that is beautifully stated. I have been told many times I'm an eternal optimist, and I always say it's what keeps us going in all things. But you're right; it's in perception of just looking at something through a different perspective. And I love the whole aspect of the growth mindset, because I think you can either stay stuck or you can choose to grow in a direction that's going to be different. And I've told everybody, the new word is pivot. Pivot to where your growth is going to be. Pivot to a smile. Pivot to something else, because that's all we can do right now is just pivot and be okay. And I think one of my mentors says all the time, they go, you know what? And sometimes you just have to say, today's a day and tomorrow's going to be a new one. So just go take a bath, go do what you need, whatever's going to do good for you at the end of the day, and tomorrow's another day and it'll be okay. Yeah. So without further ado, is there anything else you'd like to give our audience to share with them about Glasswing?
No, I mean, we'd love if you can. I have my own Instagram, and we also have Glasswing. It's Glasswing, GLASSWING.org is our website, and then all of our social media, Glasswingy, Glasswing INT. So if you can reach out to us, we'd love to have you involved, or if you want more info. And I think more than anything else, is just knowing deep inside that you can. Every single person here can change someone's life. And I think if we all really acted on that, this would be, we could all change so much.
No, definitely. Well, I will tell you this, Celina, I'm walking away with how we can give, how important mental health is. I know that this number of violence in Latin America will go down because of an organization like yours. And I would encourage our entire audience that's here today that when you're thinking of what you're going to be doing next, or thinking of an organization, think of Glasswing, because literally it could be $1 a month, it could be $25 a month, or it could be $5,000, whatever is possible. But know that when you're giving to our institutions like this, you're truly making the world a better place. And that's the essence of empowerment. An empowered person empowers others. And that's our the Happy Empowerment Hour. So I hope that today you learned a lot from Celina, because I know I did, and that together we will rally and we will help her organization and see how you can get involved, whether it's yourself, your corporation, or just volunteering in your local community, as she stated. But we can all make a difference, because many of us, as my father used to always say, even the poorest person gives $1 in the collection plate at times at church. If they can do that, all of us can do a little bit more as well. So without further ado, just thank you so much, Celina, for being with us today on the Happy Empowerment Hour. Thank you to our audience. And if everybody's out there, please be sure to subscribe, because you never know what fabulous person you're going to be empowered by, such as today you were empowered by Celina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias.
Bye, everyone.